Here's my blush. That was interesting. This stuff's good. Just gonna wait, obviously, because nobody's in here. I don't have too long to talk because I'm kind of heading out, but I'm finishing my makeup up at the same time while I talk to people. While I talk to myself right now because there's nobody in here except two lurkers. Lurky McLurkersons. This is a kind of weird time to go live. I feel like people are either still at work. Well, it depends on what coast you live on. Then you're either still at work if you're in the East Coast, right? Hey, I'm a cue ball. What does that mean? Really? That's weird. She was awful. Oh my God. That was. Oh, I just finished up watching it because I was a little behind. I was a couple of minutes behind. So, which I purposely do throughout the day when they're testifying because it could get a bit boring. It could. And I was listening to that doctor this morning, and then I took a little pause because I can't take too much of those types of testimonies. But I didn't really know she was coming on to testify today. Hello, everybody. So Dory, she is sorry if I'm not paying attention to chat the best right now because I'm trying to get ready and talk. So Amber Heard was testifying today at her trial. His, case rested. And now it's her team's turn to kind of basically tell her story and have her witnesses and um yeah, listen, watching the clips is good enough. You don't have to sit through the whole thing. Her testimony, I would definitely suggest sitting through though. Like the doctors and shit and like all the other people. But boy, oh boy. At first, when she first got on the stand, I felt like she was being somewhat genuine. She was talking about her life growing up and that she was a hard worker. Her dad owned I don't know, he did something with horses, trained them or something. And, she talks about herself, how she grew up, yada, yada, yada. No, Deborah, there'll probably be a whole, I was listening to Emily D. Baker, who's a former attorney. So I feel like out of anyone, she's probably good to listen to. I like hearing an attorney's take on it because she knows what's going on in the courtroom with the objections and even just the testimony. So she does commentary throughout it, and it's really, really interesting to listen to, from an attorney's perspective. Well, she was a former prosecutor. I'm not sure where, but anyway, it's interesting to hear, from somebody who's actually worked in the uh, business, unlike some people who are tagging their videos non-lawyers reaction. Like that does not make it appealing. Just saying. Who the fuck wants to hear from somebody who has absolutely no, I don't know, stance, you know what I'm saying, or any kind of credibility? But all right. It's like fucking weird. I'm just a regular person here just giving my opinion, thinking as a juror, um, or the potential juror, I guess. It was pretty dramatic. It got pretty dramatic, and one of the main things that I noticed was a complete and utter lack of accountability, and that's the really main difference between her testimony so far and his is that there's a complete lack of accountability in this situation. It's like in every situation that she's describing, which are completely out of, you know, order, and it's confusing because you don't know if this happened before they got married, after they got married. It's very confusing. Very, very, very confusing. Because apparently, according to her, all this abuse was happening before they got married. But, she starts off by basically detailing their love affair and how they met and how they started talking, and it's so dramatic. It's so over the top, you know. oh, when we were together, it was just us two. It was just us two. And we were in our own little bubble. And that's all that mattered. And you could tell she totally romanticizes relationships. And then she also idealizes people, which is so typical. Like, I don't know how that other doctor does not believe that she has borderline personality disorder, because it's like so obvious. But anyway, I have to agree with that assessment. I mean, it's not just about her current behavior, but you have to look into like everything. And it's the way she describes the relationship. It's just so, it's so fluffy. You know what I'm saying? The way that they fell in love, and throughout the whole entire testimony, she's the hero in the story. She just wanted to help him. She just wanted to love him to sobriety, and you know be a positive influence in his life. And there's just no accountability in her testimony whatsoever. Zero. Yeah, the lack of accountability is a major red flag. Major red flag. I mean, just not even, listen, any fight you get into in any life, you have to take some type of accountability, for it. You might have started it, you might have played some role in it, but she is literally making herself a complete victim. It's just over dramatic. It's very theatrical. Her descriptions, everything. And it's funny because I keep going back to the doctor that diagnosed her with borderline personality disorder. And she mentioned the use of flowery language. And that's exactly what she's doing on this stand. It's this very fluffy, just over the top language about love. It sounds very fantasy. It sounds very fairy tale. They were so in love with each other. It was just so magical, and I mean, she didn't use those exact words, but it's very almost immature to me. Um, but again, she's young, so I try to take that into account. I mean, she's not that young anymore, but at the time she was 25 years old, and, maybe a little immature. I mean, I'm trying to give her a little bit of credit. She cleaned up after he pooped himself and pooped. Yeah, right. I don't believe that. I don't buy that for a second. Here's my thing too. Okay. We had all these other people testify. Now, let's take this all into consideration, right? Some of these people still work for him and are still friends with him. But some of them don't. Some of them don't work for him anymore. Some of them have moved on with their lives and they don't talk to him anymore and they don't have any association. Not one person, including his ex wife, who didn't testify, or not wife, but his ex, girlfriend, I guess. She didn't testify, but she has publicly come out and said that she does not believe that he was violent ever with her. And so, like, to me, that says a lot, because of anybody, she kind of should be in a position where she would say something like that or have an axe to grind against him, because in a sense, he kind of cheated on her when he met Amber, right? They were going through shit. I guess their relationship was falling apart at that time, but it wasn't over 100%. So, she's painting, and you could tell that she read up on abuse. She read up on abuse, because what she's describing is so flowery. It's just so typical. Like, she's setting it up for the abuse, and she's very intelligent. I will give her that. She's articulate and she's intelligent. I will say that. But a lot of narcissistic people can be, charming, intelligent. Hopefully the jury sees through it. I heard there's a lot of men on the jury, so I hope they have the ability to see through it. But it sounds like she's really setting it up for this abuse, because she's starting off with the love bombing. She's setting it all up. It's very, very carefully crafted. That's it. Her testimony seems very crafted, I guess is the best way I could say. Almost rehearsed in a sense, where his came off. I mean, you have to remember they're both actors, so who's putting on a performance? But hers seems a lot more rehearsed, I guess, than his does. Um, the way that she's laying everything out, just it's rehearsed. I'm glad at least her well, I shouldn't say that. I was going to say her attorneys are a little organized, more organized, because they're not when they cross-examine people, but they're not, because they're not giving us a timeline, which I feel like is really important if you're a juror to understand the timeline and how the abuse, if you're trying to show somebody is abusive, right? She's trying to lay out this timeline, but they're not really giving us a timeline, because anybody who's been in an abusive relationship, you know that the abuse doesn't happen the way she's saying that it's happening. Um, it usually happens very, very, very slowly, very slowly. Otherwise, these people usually don't really come out in their full abusive way unless, well, until there's a commitment made, otherwise they would never get married. So I don't know, I don't believe it. Did she have real tears? I To be honest with you, CK, I wasn't watching, like, while I was, I wasn't watching because I was getting dressed and I was doing other things, so I would have to go back and really watch. But one of the things that the commentator that I was listening to, this Emily D. Baker, she was saying, which I also kind of noticed too, was that, she's explaining these, like, situations that happened that were so abusive, supposedly. But she's like slowing down at the parts where the actual abuse occurs. And she was saying, as a prosecutor, when she had to go through testimony like this, more often than not, the victim will rush through that part. And it actually has to be slowed down by the attorney, so that the jury could understand it. She just wasn't doing that. It's an entanglement. Oh, yeah. Just like Will Smith, right? Oh, did this take over the Will Smith thing? He's lucky, huh? He's really lucky that this is going on right now. So, I mean, this descriptions, yeah, Deborah, total BS of the essay. Total BS. She was, I mean, it's not believable. If somebody was doing that to you, um, yeah, it just wouldn't happen like that. And you wouldn't describe it like that. And then she's doing this a lot. And to me, this is a huge sign of lying, where she'll say, well, I don't really remember, but I remember, not those exact words, but that's like basically what she's doing. She keeps fluctuating, like, well, I don't really remember exactly, but why do you keep saying that? Now you're letting the uh, jury know that your memory isn't that great. The last incident that she basically described before they ended for the day. And now this sucks. Think about this. All right. She might do a whole entire day of cross examination. She might be on the stand for days. So tomorrow's Thursday. Then the court's closed or whatever, blacked out, whatever they say, Friday. And then the whole week of next week, because the judge has some engagement to go somewhere. Okay. So we're going to have to wait a whole another week for her cross examination. So that sucks. And she's gonna have time to prepare, and that sucks too. Because in reality, she can go over her testimony so far. I mean, she's not supposed to, but she can. She's not supposed to be, while she's testifying, she should not be paying attention to any media or anything like that. But who's monitoring it? Who's monitoring it? Who's monitoring her conversations and everything? This is so highly publicized. It's almost unavoidable. You'd have to be, I don't know, living in a bubble somewhere. But yes, she is very creepy, and I've noticed that just in general. I am gonna say, in the whole case, her demeanor, the way she looks around, the way her eyes dart around, her facial expressions, she's very awkward, extremely awkward. Just sitting there, she looks extremely uncomfortable, and you could tell, she doesn't make eye contact. I could just tell. I could tell she's one of those people that if you talk to her, she does not make eye contact with you when she's talking. She's very shifty. That's probably a good way to describe her. Trying to make him look bad about, oh yeah, so thank you, Just Facts, for reminding me. So Just Facts, are you Pumpkin, or because you have the same picture, right? I think you are. while she was doing, hold on, trying to make him look bad about drugs while she was doing drugs, total narc behavior, no account. Thank you. That's what I was just going to talk about. So the last, the last incident that she describes, or at least one of the last incidents that she describes, is that they're on this, like, I don't know, trip or something like that, where they go to some camping place, I guess, trailers. I don't know. I guess it's like a trailer camping place, right? And they're all taking MDMA, which is I basically ecstasy, okay? And she takes some, and he takes some, and then there's this girl there that she claims she doesn't really know. And I'm thinking, well, why would you be on this trip with this person that you don't know? And she claims that the girl leans on her. Now, mind you, just keep in mind she's bisexual. Her partner before being with Johnny Depp was a woman. She was in an I don't know. She calls her ex-wife, so I assume they were married. I don't know. I don't know if they were legally married or whatever, but so she's claiming that, you know, they all take MDMA, and just trigger warning to anybody who's like sensitive about SA or anything like that, just putting that out there. So they all take MDMA, and there's this girl, and she's starting to feel the effects, supposedly of the MDMA. So she kind of leans into Amber, and she puts her head on her shoulder. And now Amber claims that Johnny Depp put his hand on the girl's wrist and like grabbed and like, that's my fucking girl. And he starts flipping out, and he tells the girl, I could break your wrist. You know how easy it is. Now, could that have happened? Sure. But maybe it was a joke. Maybe her perception of the situation is off, you know? Maybe he was joking around like, hey, that's my girl. I don't know. But did this even happen? Who knows? So she says that he threatens the girl, and then I don't know, everything calms down, and then him and her go away to talk about this, and he trashes the trailer, which I believe he admitted to in the testimony, but I forget his version of that. So I don't want to comment on that because I really don't remember his exact version of the events that happened. So anyway, he trashes this, and then the trailer, right? And then she says he brings her inside this trailer and performs a cavity search, that he was accusing her of hiding drugs, hiding cocaine and all this stuff in her prison pocket, I'll call it. So he supposedly, and now she's describing this in pretty, I wouldn't say too detailed, but detail, where she's saying that he took 2 fingers and he inserted them, right? And then he's twisting them around, and not once does she ever describe, which is the attorney that I was listening to pointed out, how it feels. Does it hurt? Are you uncomfortable? Were you worried about somebody coming in? Nothing like that. She just, to me, sometimes when people are lying, like Molly Golightly has a tendency to do this, they give too much detail, like way too much detail, like detail that doesn't matter. But also I feel like when people are lying, they give no detail, because how do you add detail to something that really didn't happen? Like when you listen to Jodi Arias, this is probably one of my greatest examples that people would be familiar with, right? And she's telling the ninja story. If people are familiar, at first, her first story was she wasn't there. Her second story changed that these 2 people attacked Travis Alexander. They came in the house. It was a guy and a girl. And she tells this whole story, but it's very broken because it was a lie. There was no detail to it. It was a lie. And it was almost like she was making it up as she was going along. And this really, really reminds me of that. It really reminds me. I know I want to go back and watch her face. Embarrassment lying can cause lack of details too, but she seems a bit mental. Oh, she's definitely mental. There's just no question about it. But well, Remy, the thing is, she's testifying. I mean, all their dirt is out. What are you embarrassed about at this point? There's nothing really to be embarrassed about at this point. All this shit's out. It's in the public. She has no problem talking about him shitting himself and her having to clean it up and being hit. And all this other shit. I don't know. I just don't buy it. Do I think that he has a temper? Sure. But I think that it's kind of weird. It's the way that she's explaining him to be this jealous, overbearing monster who, was always worried about what she was wearing and all this other shit. It's like she's describing herself. It's total projection. Total projection. She's describing herself in this situation because if you listen to any of the recordings, that's her. She's the one who's worried about where he's going constantly and who he's with and where he is and that he's leaving her. And she's trying to flip it around and make it like he's the one with borderline personality disorder who's afraid of being abandoned. Dude, that was disgusting. I don't know how she finds work. Her acting skills suck. Johnny did a great job at gray rocking until the kids were brought up. I didn't see. I really have to go back like later tonight and I'm gonna rewatch it so that I could actually see her face and everything because unfortunately, I was busy while I was listening, so I didn't really get to see her face and her. I saw some of it, and the little that I did see, I was like, oh, she's so full of shit. She's just full of shit. Like there's just no question in my mind that it's lies. It's just all lies. Yes, she has done her research, absolutely. Her body language says she's full of shit, full of BS. I don't think anyone is buying it. I mean, I certainly am not. Some of the things that she was just saying just sounded so. Listen, she's making this sound like it's an overtly abusive relationship. And if that were the case, people, you have to remember, these are famous people. They really don't have privacy. Rich, famous people really don't have privacy. There's always people around them. Always. Always. Whether it's their staff, their assistants, people that maintain their houses, managers. Nobody saw this, right? Nobody else saw this explosive behavior. Like, I would love to hear where's the testimony of the people that were on this camping trip. I would love to hear from one of these people. Because a lot of the things that she's saying, there was people around. There was people there. So where's the testimony from these people? I'd be interested to see if any of them show up. Yeah, she's making shit up as she goes along. Some of the stuff, the lawyer that I'm listening to, does she have a memory? Because I can't remember every single detail of this whole story. It's a lot, and I haven't listened to every single second of the trial. I've listened to a lot of it. But she's very good at remembering these details of these stories because she was an attorney at one time, and you have to be good at that, for cross-examining people. And she's like, wait a second, like, I mean, she's pointing out things like, oh, her shirt, she didn't wear that shirt, or they were sitting on a couch, and how'd she lose her balance if she was sitting on a couch, like when he hit her, supposedly. So it's really interesting. Her acting career is in the toilet. Her acting career never really got off. I mean, she really wasn't in any really popular movies or anything like that. As someone in recovery, your memory could become distorted if under the influence at that time. Well, that's what I was trying to get at, actually, Remy. This account of this thing that happened at this camp. I don't know if anybody here has ever taken ecstasy. I have. And let me tell you something. You see shit that's not there, dude. I mean, it's hard to explain a psychedelic drug to somebody who's never done them. But while you're on the drug, I feel I've never done MDMA, like pure MDMA, so I don't know if it would be all that different. But because ecstasy basically is MDMA, but there's other shit sometimes in it. I don't know. I don't know too much about the chemical, chemistry behind those types of drugs, but I just know I took it a couple of times, and I had fucking wild experiences. I mean, I remember I was in my boyfriend's house at the time in his room, and it looked like there was. You ever see those faces? I guess they're kind of popular Halloween, where it looks like they're stretching through the wall. Like it looks like, if you stood behind a blanket and pressed your face into it. I was fucking seeing that shit coming out of his walls at his house. Arms, faces. I knew at the time that they weren't real. That's a weird thing about, I guess, psychedelic drugs, is that you know that what you're seeing isn't real, but you don't, you just enjoy seeing it. You know what I'm saying? You don't like, I don't know. But again, I didn't take too much. I mean, could she possibly be creating a situation in her head that absolutely didn't even fucking happen because she was on drugs? We're supposed to take her account, you know? And of course, when she was doing drugs, it wasn't because she wanted to get high or party or have fun. It was because she wanted to please him. She wanted to be the fun girlfriend. You know, it's like, come on, like no accountability in anything, just no accountability, not even for taking drugs, which is all of this goes along with the diagnosis that his expert witness, the doctor, gave. All of it. And I think that's why they're just kind of letting her go on with this kind of narrative, um, speech that she's giving. It's really interesting. Pure ecstasy won't cause that. What do you mean, Deborah? Like, won't cause like hallucinations? I went to the phase, yeah, clubbing on E. Oh my God, dude. Let me tell you something. If the whole world took E every day, I think we'd be like the most peaceful world. That's another thing I don't believe. If he was on MDMA, I don't believe that he flipped out and went nuts. It's possible. I'm not saying you can't, but that's a whole thing about taking those drugs is the euphoria that you get, the euphoric effect that you feel off of it. I mean, like you'll walk up to your worst enemy and hug them and be like, "Hey, I love you, man." You know, and now we're supposed to believe that, he was angry while taking MDMA. Now, could he have been mixing drugs and had some adverse effect, or I don't know. I don't feel like I'm buying this jealousy thing. I mean, could he have been a little jealous? Sure. Every guy is. Every person is. And in fact, a little bit of jealousy, in my opinion, is normal in any relationship. Like, any love relationship. A little bit. Every once in a while. There's a line though where it becomes abusive. But I mean, every normal human feels jealousy at some point in their lives, or feels threatened at some point in their lives, in their relationships. I mean, that's just normal human nature. If you didn't feel like that, I would question whether you really care about the person or not. Every once in a while you're going to feel that. But she's making it like he's this jealous monster, he's jealous of everything. Ecstasy and MDMA are said to impact your serotonin receptors in your brain where they don't work correctly. Well, whatever it does, it makes you really fucking happy. That's all I know. Makes you feel really happy. He should have just stuck with maybe just being single. Why does he even have to be in a relationship or married, I mean, listen, I'm not saying this guy's perfect. I definitely think he had his outbursts. I mean, we saw one, where he's on the, kind of slamming cabinets. But again, what's the context of that video? I've always wondered, what was he angry about in that video? Because she's obviously recording it and she's standing there very calmly. And it doesn't seem like whatever he's upset about, to me at least, in that video, it doesn't seem like it's about her. It seems like it's more about something else that happened. But it doesn't seem like he's angry about anything having to do with her. He seems very passive. I don't know if he's, I think he's passive, but I also think he's very sarcastic. And I think he has a dark sense of humor. And I think that for somebody like her, that passiveness, like even if you watch that video, that kind of sarcasm comes through where he's like, did anything happen to you today? I don't think so. Like he points at her, you know, it doesn't come across to people like that who can't really understand sarcasm. His mother just died. Oh, is that what he was upset about that day? Wow. I didn't know that. Wow. and she's recording him. Dude, that is so fucked up. Wow. Wow. Just wow. Who would fucking record their husband at a time like that? It's almost as sick as her recording him when he was talking about cutting himself. Sick. I personally feel, and I could be totally wrong or totally off base with this whole entire theory, so please, let's just look at the facts. She's a 25-year-old when she met him. He was twice her age, in his 50s, okay? Or maybe late 40s, almost twice her age, okay? He's Johnny Depp. He's this rich A-list actor, okay? Legendary A-list actor. She's a fucking nobody. She had some acting roles, but nothing crazy. She marries him. Maybe I'll give her some benefit of doubt. Maybe she didn't know what she was getting herself into. That's a very difficult lifestyle to deal with as a partner. Somebody who's famous, who's that level of fame. That's a different level of fame. His life and riches, it's on another level. Even her as an actress, she was a struggling actress at that point still, who was getting small roles in movies. This guy's a fucking mega millionaire, rich, famous, had a career that was decades old, since he was young. So, I mean, I think that at first she was enamored with him and probably was attracted to that. I don't necessarily know if she was attracted to him or who he was. You know what I'm saying? And that has to be a hard thing for actors. I know, poor rich actors, but reality is, like, how do you know when people are actually really care about you? It has to be hard to know that if people actually care about you or if they just want to be near you because of who you are. Like, think about that, Do they really care about me or do they just want to be with me because I'm famous and I'm rich? So maybe she was in love with the idea of Johnny Depp and being Johnny Depp's wife or girlfriend, but I don't really feel that she was actually in love with him. And I feel like at a certain point in time, she realized that and she started to build this case against him. Like, in order to get out of this relationship, because I do believe that they eventually signed a post-nup agreement, not a prenup, but a post-nup. I feel like she, at that point, probably realized that it was not going to work out, that she really wasn't in love with him, that she was just there for the money and the fame, and that she was going to walk away. My bad. I hit the button by accident and I left my own life. Um, I feel like she was more in love with who he was, but I feel like at a certain point in time, she started building a case. Whether she was going to sue him or destroy him or whatever it was, I feel like she started getting angry because he started standing up for himself. He wasn't giving in to her. And, she realized she didn't have the control over him that she really wanted. He started to pull away probably because he was feeling controlled. And I feel like she realized it as she started building a case that she could somehow benefit off of and trying to destroy him on purpose. Because why were they recording each other? Why was she recording him so much? I mean, I know he recorded her as well, but every time he's recording her, he makes it a point to say so in the recording. Why was she secretly recording him? I mean, in that one video where he's slamming the cabinets, he obviously had no idea he was being recorded until he actually saw the phone sitting there. And I think once she started to record him, there was a purpose for it. It wasn't to help fix the relationship or show him his behavior. I really do think that she started building a case. And that's the thing, when these people go on these smear campaigns like they, do, they will bring everybody. They'll try to make your own family hate you. And I feel like she was slowly trying to do that. I mean, it's bizarre the way she even described the relationship today with his children, because everybody else's version is that his children really weren't a big fan of her. But her version was like she was this motherly figure to them. It's like, she knew, wasn't mad at her, but took it as an opportunity to get the media to say he is violent. Yeah. She's just, I don't know. I wasn't buying it today. It felt icky. It just didn't feel authentic. Nothing about her testimony today felt authentic to me. It all felt just very bullshitty, very bullshitty, very rehearsed, very dramatic, and very unrealistic. And I think, I hope, the jury, rules in his favor. At the end of the day, I personally don't think that he is in this for the money so much, because let's face it, he has enough money probably to live comfortably for the rest of his life. I know he got fucked over a little bit by some of his people, but in all actuality, I'm sure has enough money to live comfortably for the rest of his life, with those residuals that he probably gets from his movies and whatever else, So I'm sure. And after this, I think he'll repair, and start getting movie roles again, or something in that way. Because I don't even think the amount of money that he's suing her for, I don't even think she has that amount of money. I don't think she's that rich. I don't know. Maybe she made a lot of money with the Aquaman movies, but I don't think she has that kind of money. So I think for him, it's more about restoring his career and his image. And that's really it. Which he might not. I'm not here. What was that? You seen Starlight posted something. I don't know. That's what I personally feel, and I could be wrong, but obviously. But it's very interesting. It's been a very interesting case to follow. I've never seen a defamation case, and I think it's just really interesting to watch this all play out the way it is. Her face. While he wins, hold on a second. He wins, he will say, I got what I wanted, and walk away. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. That's what I feel. I feel like he's just trying to just clear things up. And the only way for him to really do this is this. This is the only way he could clear his name, because otherwise nobody, how would we hear all these testimonies from people? And you know what I'm saying? Like there's no other way to really get this information out there except for the way he's doing it, which sucks that he has to put his whole life on display. What the fuck is in my shoe, dude? Hold on a second. You ever put your shoe on and feel something? If it's like a bug or something, I'll have a heart attack. Maybe it was lace. I hope it was. I just hope he could at the very least, repair his image. When he wins, he will say, God, what do you want to do? I just read that. Hey, crazy Gemini. Purple rain, her face. So it's been pretty interesting. She was doing some terrible acting. Horrible acting. Horrible. Just absolutely horrible. It was so, you could tell it was acting. You could just tell. The way, listen, I know there's people out there, and I happen to be one of those people. Like, I could talk about hard things without crying or getting overly emotional. I know how to choke back tears or whatever, but I just don't feel like that's what's going on with her necessarily. I just feel like it's fake. There's a lot of things that go into telling the truth, and it just seems fake. It just seems very fake to me. I would love to compare her testimony today to the one that she did for the London or UK trial. that there was. I'd love to see if the story's out. She's super cringy. Super cringy. She was wiping away fake tears. There was a very Molly Golightly vibe today. You know how she fake cries and then like all of a sudden 2 seconds later she's totally fine. It was like that. That's what it felt like today. Very fake, very rehearsed, just not genuine at all. She was making sounds that should have been coming out of her nose, but nothing was anywhere on her face. Yeah. If all that happened, she would be lucky to be alive. Well, listen, I told you guys this the other day. I listened to one of the recordings from when they, you know, were fighting the other day. And I mean, she is just taunting the fuck out of him. Just taunting the fuck out of him. The way she's describing this abuse, okay, this is not just like a little emotional abuse. The way she's describing this is like, this is a severely dangerous and abusive relationship, okay? With a guy who's completely fucking out of control, who's on drugs, who's high all the time, and seems to have no control of his emotions. Okay? You don't fucking sit there taunting somebody like that. You just don't do it. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says. Unless you've been, I don't care what any doctors say. I don't care what anybody, professionals say, because unless they've actually been in a relationship with an abuser, you don't know what it's like. Okay? And you certainly do not go out of your way to taunt your abuser the way that she does in these things, or call him names, or, gaslight him. I mean, the recordings to me are probably the most telling part of the whole thing, because we got to actually hear and see with our own eyes what happened. And I feel like they really are damaging to her. They really are. Especially when, I have to say, in every recording I've heard of him, thus far, he's pretty even keeled. He's very even keeled, and he doesn't know he's being recorded in a lot of these, and you could tell he's very passive, and he's pretty even keeled. Does he talk back? Sure, but it's always calm. Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, right. Okay. He's passive. You could just hear it. How come in none of these recordings she didn't capture him being completely abusive? The worst that she has is that one video where he's slamming cabinets. Ooh, ooh, that doesn't mean he's abusive. I do the same thing when I'm mad. I slam a door. I've punched walls before. I mean, I try not to do that, but when I was younger and I didn't have such great control over my emotions, I would punch walls, but I didn't hit people. I punched walls so I didn't have to hit people. Or I'd slam a door, or I'd kick something so I didn't hurt a person. It was a way to get my anger out and not hurt anybody. It was that release of just, oh, you're so mad, you hit something, and then it's over. You get it out and it's over. I don't know. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. She edges at him. Yes, she does. Hey, Life Rewinded. He's not a fighter. She never caught him admitting to physical violence in any recording, unlike her. Exactly. And she never captured the physical violence and if he's so unpredictable, right? Like she says, and flies off the handle so easily, you're going to tell me that you didn't capture that in one of how many recordings that there are? There might even be recordings that we don't even know about because they didn't come out the way that she wanted them to. There might be recordings out there where she's really being super aggressive and he's totally calm, cool, and collected. We don't know. Oh, hold on. I have to turn my Bluetooth off. I'm just going to give a fair warning. I might lose connectivity. Hold on a second. I got to turn my Wi-Fi off. But anyway, I don't know. It's just fascinating. It really is. Oh, she's fake as anything. Fake as anything. I mean, it's just so, it's so overly dramatic. I feel like if you were really talking about it, I don't know. I feel like you wouldn't be so fucking dramatic about it. And what the fuck was with the tea that she kept mentioning? And he was drinking tons of tea. Like, I feel like there's some deeper meaning in that like isn't being explained, and her attorney's not really good at questioning. Like, watching his attorney cross-examine that witness, their first witness, his attorneys are really good. Really good. Her attorneys, not so much. They're really bad at just everything, cross-examining everything. Because, like, they're not helping clarify things. So they're just kind of letting her talk, which his attorneys did too, in a sense. But every once in a while, his attorneys would kind of stop him and, ask him to, like, maybe elaborate on something that he said or explain something that he said. And her attorneys just, like, really aren't doing that. And so a lot of it is very confusing because there's no timeline. It's just all over the place. Her attorneys suck. They just suck, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. They're horrible. All right, and I really can't read chat because I'm driving, unless I'm at a red light. Yeah, the tea thing was very, very weird. I don't know what they were implying there, but it was strange. And she also tried to make it like he hid his addictions from her. Like she didn't know that he was a drinker or that, but then it's funny because she explains at the very beginning that one of the things they connected on was their love for this red wine. And, it's just, she doesn't realize how much she's contradicting herself in this testimony. And it's really bad. I think that's why his side really isn't objecting too much, because some of it they should be. And they're just kind of letting her go on this tangent, because the more they let her talk, the more they have to work with to rip apart when they cross-examine her. So, yeah, his attorneys are going to destroy her. I definitely think that his attorneys are a lot better than hers. First of all, they're more likable. Even on cross-examination, they're more likable. Her attorneys are very rude and condescending. I mean, the one attorney yesterday, she called the doctor by the wrong name, right? She called her expert witness doctor that was testifying. She was calling her the name of Johnny Depp's expert witness that was testifying. So she was saying the wrong name. And she did it twice. And the first time she did it, she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at Dr. Whatever." And then she smacks herself in the head. Like Homer Simpson style. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what attorney does that in the courtroom in front of the whole judge and jury? Like, she literally smacks herself in the head. Like, hard, too. I was like, what the fuck? Very, 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 very weird. Oh, I know, right? Crazy Gemini. Juan Martinez. So it should be interesting. It should be very interesting tomorrow to hear the rest of her testimony. And that's another thing I noticed, I have to say. There's no new exhibits being introduced, right? There's no new evidence being introduced, which there really should be. If, there should be something to back up her testimony. They're really not giving anything that's backing up her testimony, which is really bad on her. Dude, I just want one day that I don't get a freaking headache. I swear to God, every day I get a headache lately. Maybe I have a brain tumor. It's not the tumor. So, yeah, I just can't wait to see what tomorrow brings. It should be interesting. I've been focused on this shit, listening to it. I listened to the Jodi Arias trial, but a lot of it I listened to after it happened. So I wasn't really watching it while it was actually happening. And then it was so it was based thing on a Ring camera, and it was fucking horrible. It was terrible. So I'm roboting. Yeah, I'm not gonna have the best connectivity right now. I'm on the road, but I can't wait to see how this goes. It'll be really interesting to see the rest of the trial. I mean, I think everybody should watch at least one trial in their lifetime, just to understand how the justice system works. You know, should you find yourself in a trial, any type of trial, whether it's a civil matter, a criminal matter, you're a juror, like it's really interesting. It really is. At least I find it interesting. Hey, Mercedes girl. So I definitely suggest everybody watching at least one. At least one. Because it really is interesting. I just don't know how these people sit there all day like that. Like, no bathroom breaks. Well, I mean, they get breaks. I think they get a 15-minute break in the morning. And then they break for an hour usually for lunch. And then I think they get another 15-minute break in the afternoon. I'm pretty sure. But it's got to be kind of hard to sit there all day, every day. What happened to Molly Golaley? How come? Why? All right. Why did she go down there? And then, like, why wouldn't you go down now? Why would you go down when, like, these unimportant people are testifying? I just don't get it. It just really goes to show me that it was, like, just being done for a reason, basically. It's almost as ridiculous as Laura trying to stream this shit and get views off of it when it's like, dude, you're so late to the game, man. You should have streamed it from the very beginning. I know she was going through shit. Oh, speaking of Laura, I gotta fucking point this out, okay? She does this stream last night. I have to fucking say something about this because it's so hypocritical, okay? Her ex passes away. Her ex-boyfriend, her kid's father, passes away. And she comes on here and she says to everybody, give me a month. Give me a month at least. Give me a month at least. Right? But then she sits here talking about all the details of it on her fucking live streams, right? Last night, I see that she goes live about this girl, this 16-year-old girl who passed away, who was on the show Toddlers and Tiaras. Well, I happened to see a video about that yesterday in my feed. It just popped up in my feed. And I was like, what the hell is this? It was like an Inside Edition clip, okay? So it was only like a minute or two long, this clip about this girl passing away. And they didn't give much information. They just said that she passed away. They didn't say when, how, where. But the one thing that they did say in this clip that she herself acknowledged several times in her live stream, from what I heard, was that the family asked for privacy. The family asked for privacy. The mother asked for privacy. Okay, which would indicate that however this girl died, you know, they want privacy and they don't want it being discussed publicly. So what do you do when somebody asks for privacy? Go live and fucking speculate about this girl committing the S word, offing herself, basically. Go live about it and discuss it and sit there and speculate as to why she might have offed herself. Like, dude, do you not see how you ask for privacy from people on the internet, right? And to be fair to both of them, if you're a public figure, okay, no matter how public or famous you are, whether you're from Toddlers and Tiaras or whether you're, you know, Laura, who's basically, a public figure in a sense, you know, because she has a YouTube page and she's got a following, so it's public. It's kind of unrealistic to ask for privacy on both accounts, in my opinion. If you discuss things publicly and you have a public image, then, you know, it's kind of nervy to ask people not to discuss things, you know? So in her defense, in a sense, I feel like, I mean, it's going to get discussed whether people like it or not, unfortunately. You know, you put your daughter in these pageants, you put your daughter on this show, this reality show, and now people know her. So they're going to discuss it publicly. But like, the hypocrisy from her standpoint, where she's asking people not to talk about her, right? She doesn't give to a mother who's grieving the loss of her daughter, who asked for this to not be discussed publicly, like specifically asked for privacy. You know, she doesn't want it being discussed publicly. I didn't hear any details as to how she died. This is what, you know, she was saying, and I don't know if that's true or untrue. But I'm just saying, like, if it is, then it makes it all the more sad. And I would want to respect that mother even more by not discussing specifics about what happened to her. I just don't get it. You know, it's like right after that happened, you decide to do this. Like right after you yourself ask somebody, you ask the public, you ask the people to respect your privacy, you're now doing the very opposite and not respecting somebody else's privacy who asked for it. Like there was no need for you to cover that case. It's one thing to report the incident that had happened and acknowledge it, but to sit there and have somebody up on your panel and start speculating as to like why they, you know, might have done what they did, that's a totally different story to me. And it's really fucking hypocritical for you to be doing that after you're asking for the same respect from people. I just can't fucking make sense of it, I guess, is what I'm saying. And I know nobody else is going to call it out because everybody's distracted with their own BS, you know. I know there's a lot of infighting going on right now, and I'm really just trying to stay out of it. But, you know, I just feel like there's certain people who are just going to go at each other, and it is what it is. And I can say that I can look at the situation and say that, okay, well, and I'm not talking about everybody. I'm just talking certain people. And I'm not getting into specifics here because I don't want to get too involved. But like certain people, they're just going to go after each other. And they're going to have a rivalry and they're going to fight back and forth. And they're both just as bad as each other. And so I don't take any side in that situation. I'm just like, whatever. What sucks, though, is that it does affect everybody in the community, and these people don't realize it. It affects everybody because now there's people that come in my chats that might be reluctant to now come into my chat because they're like, oh, well, you're friendly with so-and-so. And it's like, I'm just so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. Like, I just want my channel to be a neutral place where people could come, you know? And that's it. Just makes me upset. You know, all these people were friends and now they're all fighting with each other. And, you know, it does cause the subscribers to split and people not to go. I'm guilty of it too. You know, there's times where I'm like, well, I'm not going to go in that person's chat because they're fighting with this person and I'm friendly with this person. So, you know, we all do it, whether we like it or not. You know, it's a little different. I saw, what's her name, commenting under my video the other day. I'm trying to think of her freaking name. She's had so many of them. God, Mandy. Her name is Mandy, not Mandy Bell. Her name was Mandy. Then she changed it to like Santa's helper. And then it was like, I don't know. She's had so many goddamn names at this point. I can't remember what her name is at this point. But she made a comment about how she's like, she goes with her principles and morals or some shit. And then she's like, I'm not a flip-flopper. But I'm like, but you kind of are. You know, no offense, but you kind of are. Well, no offense. I'm obviously offending you. But, you know, in a sense, you kind of are. Because, you know, I'll see her talking shit about Laura, like hard shit on her. And then I'll see her in Laura's chat talking hard shit on somebody else. Like, to me, that's not going with your morals and values, you know. Because to me, if I'm talking shit about somebody, I'm not gonna be phony and then be friends with them when I feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I don't like you, I don't like you, and that's it. And I'm just gonna not like you and stay in my lane. I'm not gonna flip flop back and forth and be like, well, I like you today, but yesterday you pissed me off. I don't do that. I just don't do that. So, but anyway, I just feel like, well, this fighting that goes on, it causes such a divide between people, because I like people on both sides of the fighting, forget the people that are actually, involved in the fights. I like people from both chats, and I just want everybody to know that no matter what side of that you're on, if you're, a subscriber, you're welcome in here. I don't want people to feel like, oh, you don't talk to this person, so I don't want to be in there. I'm not involved in this shit. I'm not involved in it. And I'm referring to people like Steph and German lady. You know what I'm saying? Like, their whole war. I don't have a side on that. I feel like they're both dirty. They're both not, physically dirty, like dirty people. I'm saying they both have taken really serious, dirty shots at one another. Okay. Talking about personal lives. I know that it's just gotten so ugly that I just don't want anything to do with it. But I like people that support both of them. You know what I'm saying? And I hate that people feel divided like that, oh, well, this group goes in there, so we can't go in there. No, I'm not involved in that. And I don't want to be involved in that. I just want everybody to know that everybody's welcome in my chat, as long as you're, behaving and not being an asshole, like, not being rude to people. You're welcome in my chat. I just don't want people to feel like there's a side necessarily here in that whole situation, because for me, there's not. There's not a side. I could see right and wrong on both sides. I don't think that anybody's children or anything like that should be discussed. I'm totally against that. And but I feel like there's some other things that are said from the other side that I don't agree with. So I can't really make a fair judgment to pick a side on that. I just feel like there's a lot of shitty behavior on both sides from both people. I have no sides either. If they treat me bad, I'll give it back. That's why I love you and Angel and Alicia go live, because you're all neutral ground. And that's how I want it to stay. I like everybody. I love, Starlight and Manda and, Stephanie Brown. I love them, but I also like people on the other side too. Maybe not necessarily creators, but I like the people that support them, some of the people that support them. So I just don't ever want people to feel like, oh, well, I see this one in her chat, so I'm not going in there. If it comes down to it, block that person. You're still welcome in my chat. I just want people to know that, I'm not involved in all that shit. Do I have my issues with Steph? Yeah. I don't care for her, but there might be people that follow her that I do like, and I just don't want them to feel like they can't come in here because I don't like her. I'm kind of just sick of that shit where everybody's feeling so divided. Like, people are having issues with Burnt Toast. I like Burnt Toast, dude. I'm sorry. I enjoy her chats. I enjoy going in there. And, I don't want people to feel alienated. Both sides. I don't want anybody to feel alienated or that they can't come in my chat. That's all. I think everybody's mature enough here for the most part to kind of be able to be in a chat with somebody. I've done it. I go into chats where somebody I don't care for, like I was in Alicia's chat the other day and Rex came in. I don't really care for that guy, but you know what? He was in there. He wasn't bothering me. So I could be in a chat at the same time as somebody that I don't care for. You know what I'm saying? And not, just be respectful of the person whose live it is, and not fight with somebody in their chat. I really try to not do that. I try to not fight. Anyway, I love watching Burnt Toast. I love Burnt Toast. I know there's some people that are upset with her, and I understand why. I understand that they're upset with her, but don't hate me. I like her. I don't have a side in that fight. It's just not my fight to have. You know, and I don't agree with every single thing that everybody does, but I feel like I you know, for the subscribers, I feel like I hope people know that this is a neutral place where you can just hang out and, leave that shit outside and, just talk about life things and whatever else. I don't want people to feel like they can't come in here anymore. That's all I was getting at. The other thing I have to just quickly say, and I don't even want to address this person, but I feel like I will. I saw they commented back to me. The other day I was talking something about with Laura's people and how they come in here. And I said, I use ZZ Hounds as an example, saying that she's always, talking shit about me and I've never done anything to her. I don't bother her. And so she leaves this comment saying, oh, it's quite the opposite. And I'm like, what's quite the opposite? Like, I don't bother you, dude. I don't. Does anybody in here, like, have I spoken about her in the past? Yes, when she's left comments on my videos. But do you guys hear me talk about this person ever other than that? I mean, recently, especially, have you heard me talk about this person in the last, month, 2 months, 3 months? Because I haven't spoken about them at all. And I'm like, where are you getting that I'm talking about you, dude? I'm sorry, I'm just stating a fact. I've seen you shit talking me quite a bit. I mean, with my own eyes, sometimes people send me screenshots, but sometimes I see it with my own eyes. And I stated the fact that I don't bother this person. I don't talk about them. I don't bother them. But they always seem to have something to say about me. And it's weird because sometimes they'll come in my comment section and actually be nice to me. It's so confusing, to be quite honest with you, their behavior. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't bother you. I just don't bother you. Ever. Why would you even lie and say that that's the opposite? I don't get it. I don't get it. People are fucking crazy around here. I'm telling you. Well, clearly, she still watches my lives. So thank you for letting me know. Those are the people that, like, confuse me, I guess. I know you still watch all my lives, but, like, why can't you just be nice to me? I don't say anything about you. I don't bother you. Okay, I don't like Laura, but, like, why do you have to be involved in that? Why can't you just have a, relationship with me? If you still want to come in here and watch me, right? You obviously still have an interest in me, whatever it is. Why not just come in here and be cool, and let me and Laura have our problem? I don't know. I guess I just don't get it. I don't get that rationale. It's confusing. It's just confusing because I've never done anything to them. They claimed one time that I left some community post up. I don't know. But I was like, dude, look at the whole situation. Like, I mean, if you're going to come here, you should know that I think I've made it more than clear on my channel. I don't delete things. I don't delete comments. I don't delete, very rarely will I delete a live. I mean, I have in the past just because of, there's a reason. There's always a reason if I delete a live, like something happened or somebody got doxxed or something, but for the most part, I leave everything up. I don't delete anything. I don't block people unless they're doxing or being extremely rude to, somebody in my chat or one of my mods. I mean, my mods will block them. I don't block them. So why are you surprised that I left a community post up? Like, why would that even surprise you? I leave everything up. I don't hide things. And then you're going to get mad at me? Like, then be more careful, honestly, about what you say in my comment section if you don't want it to be public. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm I would think, known for doing that I like to call out stupid comments. I've been doing it since I started my channel. I mean, one of my fucking most highly viewed videos on my channel is me reading hate comments from a Molly Golightly video. So, like, it's a thing that I'm kind of known for doing. So if you don't want those comments to be highlighted, don't come here and fucking leave them. I mean, it's pretty simple concept. I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Anyhow, I'm almost at my destination here, so I'm gonna have to end this. But uh, if possible, I'll try to go live maybe Friday. Maybe we can discuss the rest of the testimony from Amber. If I do, it'll be during the day. So tomorrow I'm getting my hair done finally. So yay! Hope it comes out good. But yeah, I'm at my destination here, so I'm gonna have to end this. But it was nice discussing all this stuff with you guys because, like I said the other day, I don't have anybody in my real life to talk about it with. So it's nice being able to discuss these things with you guys. And I'll see you guys, in a few days. And have a good night. Go out and get some fresh air. All right. Bye, Mercedes girl. Bye, Corliss. Sorry, I'm ending it. Bye, Nana. Good night, Social Feed. I'll see you guys later.